The self is like the sky in which everything appears. The self is where all objects exist in. The self is where we live in. It's like space, and we are in that space. But the self is also in us. It means that our body form is surrounded by the self, which is in the self. The self is consciousness. It is the highest wisdom. It is God. And we live in God, and God lives in us. We are depending on it while it is our own self. We depend on ourselves, on ourself. There's only one self in all the selves that it has made. It made appear billions forms of itself. And all those billion forms of the self are discovering that it is all the one self. It's God or consciousness or self. It is what we all are, what sustains us, what makes us live, and also makes us move towards ourselves. It is emptiness with forms in it, but in the forms is also emptiness. When you see the space, the sky, it's there, and then a flower grows. It is touched by that air, by that space. And when the flower dies, the space does not touch it anymore. So the flower is just for a little while in the space. That's what our bodies do. We are for a little while in our own space. And the space is in us, and we are in the space. But we have a mind that thinks that we are all separated. But that's only mind. Mind can bring us back to the emptiness while we are still in a form in the emptiness. So it is as if the flower, which is touched by the surrounded space, is aware of the space. We live in this tremendous empty space, and we can be aware of that space outside us and the space inside us. We are aware that the body is just a thin form in the space, which is out and in the same space. And the body has a mind with the capacity to discover what we are. And then you come to realize that you are just space. Free. You are consciousness. You are awareness. You are the self. You are God. All mind words, thought by the mind. All words which are nothing in this space that we are. The space in me is the space in you. The space in you is the space in me. Only the form in this space seems to be different. It is human skin and bones and organs with brains and a mind. And that mind makes us seem separated. You go this way, I go that way. But we all travel in the same space, and inside the space travels with us. That means there is no difference. It's all from the one consciousness that made all those forms in itself, with capacity to discover. And that's why the life in this realm is such an adventure, because we can discover all kinds of roads to ourselves. They may be painful and they may be joyful. It will, like the waves of the sea, up, down, but it's all happening in the same space of the consciousness that we are. And that self is indestructible. That's what you are, that's what I am, that's what, there is no name. It's space, it's empty, it's even nameless. But it is what we are. It's the I am. For a while there is a person and it goes down. For a while there is a flower and it goes down. For a while there is a wave at the ocean and it goes down. But it is all happening in the same infinite consciousness. It's a dance. It's delightful, discovering its own moves to itself. And we are all the bliss possible that we can discover, which is in us. It's such an adventure, this life. Go on happily to yourself. There's only one self. I am in you and you are in me. We are all that same blissful space. Hey, do you want to come with me and take a journey to the real self that we are? Okay? Well, we think we are this person. That's what is our attitude. We are a person. We feel that we live, and that's what we are. And something inside is not satisfied with that simple, I am this, I'm only this. There's much more. Well, now we go and find out what that is. You have been, like me and many people, on vacation at the seashore, and you have been floating in the water. Now you can see yourself and the water surrounding you. It's easy, we all have done it. Now we raise up a little bit. We go a bit higher, and when we look down and we see the ocean with ourselves floating in it. We still are floating in that ocean, but we are also seeing ourselves. We go up, we go even more up. Then you can see from a certain height, you can see the ocean. It's a blue spot, and somewhere is tiny little you floating there. And you see the totality of the ocean. And then you go a bit higher, you still are in the ocean swimming in the body. And you are above the body, you see yourself floating. And you are a little higher and you see the ocean. It's non-visible anymore, but you are still in the ocean. But now you see the totality of the ocean, a blue spot. And this blue spot is the ocean it is on our planet Earth. Now we can go higher and we see our planet Earth with the ocean, with you floating in it. We see all that together floating in space. Now you are not only in the body in the water, but you are above it and above the ocean and above the planet. That means you are in space. And all that is taking place in that space. But you can even go beyond. It's much further to travel. Space is still that in which the Earth is, and the galaxies, everything, the sun, the moon, the stars, all that is floating in space. But what you are is the beingness, the formless space, the entity with nothing in it but space itself. It is timeless, formless, and it is the knowing, and that knowing is the consciousness, the awareness of itself. It knows it is empty, and it knows it is also space, planet, ocean, body form in the ocean, on vacation, and all that is only known in your consciousness, in the awareness that you are. So where do you want to spend your life? In the ocean, swimming and having to come out and go back to work, or the things that you do live in the person, it's a prison? Or do you want to stay higher and enjoy the vision of the planet, or the ocean and the ships going by and the birds in the sky? Or do you want to go to the limitless being that you are, in which all this takes place? And you know all that takes place will disappear again. But you as limitless space, eternally blissful, because there's nothing that can be done and nothing that can be won and nothing that can be lost, because you are this totality in which everything is playing, drifting. You yourself down there in the ocean, as well as the planet and the cosmos, all that is coming out of you. And you are the observer, the witness. You are free of all that appearances. That's the eternal, unchanging state. That's your beingness. But it has no form anymore. So it can never be lost. It is now this, here. Be happy. Being the witness, that means that you see everything, but it doesn't touch you. If you see the floor and somebody kicks on it or jumps on it, you don't feel it, because you are not the floor. That's obvious. But if somebody kicks at your leg, you feel it. Why? Because you think you are that leg, you are the body. And then because you think so, it is experienced and it is felt, and you are aware that there is pain in the leg, but you are not aware that the pain on the floor, because you are not that, but you are the body neither. So you are just witnessing everything. It makes you free of whatever disturbs, and that is in the mind. And what does that mean, to be disturbed? That you live in your mind, because you think you are the indweller, the one living in the body, And in the body is the mind. So you think you are that mind, you are the thoughts, and the thoughts say to you, hey, something happens with the body, now it's hurting. But when the table is broken down, you are not hurting, because your mind says, oh, I'm not a table. That's obvious. But why does the mind say you are the body? Who told you you are this body? Who made it so obvious that you started to believe that you are this body? You are not. It's so normal to know that you are not a table. But it is abnormal to think that you are not a body. That's what they taught you. And there is this convincement that because they spoke to you and they taught you that you are this person, you started to believe. But like, of course there's feelings like animals in nature. You have ever seen a lion that is wounded and that cannot chase anymore and that is dying because it is hungry and it is going to it knows it is dying, but the lion is aware of itself, but it doesn't complain, it doesn't feel what we feel. It is aware of that and it is laying down. It accepts. It knows I am not the body, although it is feeling the body and the hunger and the pain, but it's just laying down. And it doesn't suffer too much. But we are so convinced we are this body. Oh no, don't touch me. No, oh no, I don't want that. Oh no, this is not good. We are so sick of the mind. And to get that freedom back, that first you can be like an animal. They are close to nature, to the natural state. When something happens and you think it happens to you, you feel it well. Accept it, don't fight it. And furthermore, back to the natural state of the witness that you are, the observer. You wouldn't even feel the pain of the body when it's hurting. If you accept, there is no power against it. And it's the power against that hurts. So it starts with accepting, and then slowly that awareness becomes more aware of the awareness and not of the object of that what you think you are. This is an object. It's a tool. Why were we born in a human body? With a mind and with a possibility to transform. We are born in the body, so that means we are there before, and then the body appeared and we started to enter the body, to use it, to become free of it, for the mind, and not to stay in the body and die with pain and regrets, and then you have to come back in another body. Well, this is the opportunity, what animals don't have. They can accept easily their pain and their going down, and that's what is their advantage, but we have more. If we accept that we disappear, we will not regret it, we will be happy, because we know there is so much more bliss and freedom in that realm, from where we see ourselves, we see our body, we see the person that we think we are. We see it moving and going around and I don't want that and I need that. We are the observer, and that's what the animals cannot do. And we have the opportunity, the possibility, because we are sensitive beings and we have a soul. Our soul is alive, and that's what we really are. The soul is in the body, and then the body starts to take over. The mind says, I am this and I need to take care, and then push the others away. But it's not about that. It's the soul inside. Feel your freedom, the soul, the bliss. When you leave this body again, before you entered it, you were free. And when you leave it, it has served you well. It was an opportunity to reach the freedom of yourself, the real self, the soul. So, well, it's a bit of work for the mind to dissolve in wisdom. The mind is personal, but there is so much wisdom. The mind is a little dot in the wisdom that we are. So be free, because you are that freedom. And now you are free now. And the body will do its work till the last day, and then you say, thank you, body. I'm going home. I'm going home. But you can feel that home now. Yes, if you give it attention. Thank you. This whole life is nothing but knowing. If you feel not happy, then you can know that what you are doesn't matter, doesn't care about feeling unhappy or happy. That feeling happy or unhappy is something there which you are not. What you are can never be touched by happiness or unhappiness. That what it feels is your idea of yourself. And the idea is knowing, is aware that it will go down. So it comes up stronger, stronger, stronger. What's life about? It's not, you have no joy, it's not good. Well, you are aware of that thought. You are the consciousness, so don't go in the trouble. Experiences appear in my consciousness. When I'm not conscious or aware, there cannot appear anything. So I am awareness in which awareness appears. That means every single thing is made of awareness. Can you follow? Without awareness, nothing is being aware. So what is aware is awareness. That's what you are, awareness. Free of all the stuff that appears, it seems. What appears, appears. It seems to be, it's not really there. It's just a moment in awareness, but you are aware of that coming and going. The only thing that happens is that the dreamer explains in a dream to the other dreamers that they are in a dream. And something knows that's awake. But since it is not in the dream, it will never realize it. And since the dreamer is in the dream, he will never realize it. So what's the matter? Does the cloud in the sky tell the other clouds that they are just drifting by in the sky and nothing in it? No, it's just there, appearing, disappearing. That's what we also do. Our form appears and disappears. But awareness is aware of its own empty awareness. That's what you are. We are born in a body to become free of the mind. And you might say, why can we not be only in the mind and we don't need the body at all? Well, that also is true. We have a mind and we travel in the mind, but then there is no experience of the reality of the feelings and the sensations which are in the body. Of course, they are in the mind, but we sense it in the body. So we need this body to become free of the mind with things it is separated from us, from what we really are. We are formless, and then we come into a body form with the mind, and then we experience with the mind and the body together what is to be experienced in the world. Joy, pain, whatever, poverty and riches, and being mean and being good, and all that opposites. But when we only experience it in the mind, it doesn't touch. So we really have to feel it. That's why we are in the body, and the body can feel the pain, and then the mind can say, oh, I don't want it anymore, I have to change my behavior or my insights. And then start to turn back. And then when the mind is ready to surrender, the body will drop also. So we need both to become aware of what we really are. We are formless. We are free of all forms, body as well as mind. It's amazing to realize this emptiness. And I can see the true self-realized beings. Ramana Maharshi walking with the stick, with his legs bent, and he just didn't care. And when they were dying of cancer, like Nisargadatta Maharaj and Ramana Maharshi, who were truly born being as human form, they developed such a great wisdom that they dropped the body. They left the body already while being in it. So you could see that the body must have been hurting, but they didn't feel it because of their minds were opened up to the space of their true being. But they had to have the body first. And only what I know is that Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba, he came in the body on earth, but he never was a human being growing to that wisdom. He was already this wisdom coming in a form to teach us. He was really God when he came on earth. And all human beings have the capacity to become that God when they came on earth. They came as human, you, me, all of us come as a human being in a body form with a mind, and we all travel to our own empty space. And thanks to those great loving gurus that came for us, we can learn and surrender to that great wisdom inside. And then there is no more body needed. When you reach the self, then what is there to do? Who needs a tool to reach to the self? When you are that self, when you are aware of that blissful self, why should you leave it to go and return? This is what it is. Thank you. And you can only be aware of awareness, which is empty by itself, when it just first had been filled up with so-called forms and happenings. They were not really there, but it seemed like it was an experience, a story. And you can only know that you are the one witnessing the story when the story is told, to yourself, and then you can be aware of that what you are, which has nothing to do with the story. Story is told not for the story's sake, but for the one hearing it. And the one hearing the story knows, oh, it's only a story. What about it? Doesn't interest me. I know I am not the story. I see the book on the table, and I know I am not the book on the table. It's obvious. It's an object there. And I hear a story, and I know I am not that story. That's obvious. It's a history, a story over there. And I am the one knowing both. I see the story being told and I see the book on the table, but both are just appearances to show me I am not that form that hears the story, and I am not the book in which it was written. I am not even the author of the book. I am beingness. I witness my own space thanks to the story. The story is entering the space and drifting by and going, and I remain space. Do you feel the bliss? Do you feel the bliss? Whatever happens in the story, you are not that. You are this blissful awareness. You are aware of the awareness which is touched by the story and then sees, I am not touched by the story. Nothing remains but you, without everything. Thanks to everything, you know you are nothing. People say you are also everything. No, everything is the dream that appears. You are not the dream. The dream is not real. So you are not everything. It seems to be, and it seems to hurt when you talk your head or whatever. That's the story. And you remain the observer of the story, and then you leave the story behind. You have seen it so many times. It doesn't tell you anything new. So stay untouched, because you are untouched. How can a dream touch? Only when you believe the dream. That has been enough. Now finish. Space. Space. When you grow older, the form of the body starts hurting. And not only that, the things that you have in mind, you are losing that. You're losing memories, and you're losing feelings of I like this, I like that. It's all going away. So you lose everything, and that is also, for the one you think you are, it's hurting. But all of that is form. And when you realize that you are formless, what is there to hurt? It's only the imagination of the form that you thought. Well, that's the form that hurts, but you are formless. What more can you be than happy and free? There is this amazing, blissful moment that I don't feel the body. And Normally there's always something bothering the legs or the knees or whatever, the back. And sometimes it's just, hey, I don't feel my body. Maybe I will leave it when my time has come. I will just go out of it without sensation, without feelings. And I see my guru's picture and he says, you are already out of it. Imagine, you are not in the body, you don't feel it, you are out of it, and you will remain out of it. When you die, your consciousness leaves your body. And the body is gone, consciousness remains. Well, that's not, it's not really true, because there was never consciousness in the body. Like when the movie stops on the screen, you could say the movie leaves the screen. No, the movie was never there. It was just contracted forms which made a story that we can believe and follow, but it was only images. The screen remains and the movie was not even really there. So your body was not really there. It's just the imagination of consciousness. You are not real. So you cannot die. When you are real, you can die. And that's what we think. We see people walking around and they get sick and they are dying. You see there's no movement in the body. We say, hey, he's dead. The consciousness left him. But in the tool, there can be no consciousness. When you hit with a hammer on a nail, you hear the sound, but there is no consciousness of sound in the hammer. There is no awareness of the nail being pushed in the wood or in the wall. It's just all happens on the screen of awareness of your consciousness. Like everything happens on the screen of the show where the movie is played on. Screen of the television, or this screen, this here, this screen, this plastic. It seems that I am there. It looks as if I am there, but it's just, it's not a reality. We are caught by impressions. And when we are not caught any longer, it seems that we die. But the impressions stop. Consciousness goes on. It's not caught in the form anymore. And the idea, I am this and I go do that, and now I stop doing this, I will do that. That's all content of the consciousness. And when the person which is in the consciousness acting and he stops acting, that doesn't mean consciousness is dead. The person just stops playing a role in that consciousness or in the movie. Or, well, if the movie stops, the screen is not dead, and the figures on the screen, neither they are dead, because they did not exist. They were only temporarily contracted forms that played a role. How do you express that? How can you say that you don't exist? No, you cannot say it. It's just a feeling inside. It's the wisdom. Put the television on, see a movie, the movie ended, television is still there. You cannot say the movie died. No, it was never alive. So we as persons, as body, are in our own consciousness. And when we leave this play, we are not dead because we never lived. My goodness. So you talk to, there's no one talking, there's just wisdom expressing itself by means of this tool. But wisdom doesn't need to express itself. It knows enough. It's only the idea that the tool is a living being that it needs to understand it is not there at all. So if you are not there, you cannot understand it. But when you think you are there, you can learn, no, I did never exist. Then you are not. And now you are not. But now you know. It's still images goes on. The movie is not ended. And when it ends, the screen remains and your consciousness remains, and it is empty of all the happenings that were played on its own screen. And that's the bliss when you understand you were never there. Samasta Luka Sukino Bhavantu. It's a mantra for may all beings be happy. Because when you know what you are, there's only happiness remaining, and not the person, not you. And that's the ultimate bliss, understanding what you are.